Now, we all need to challenge ourselves in our sewing and our crafting from time to time, no matter at what level you are. You need a challenge. That's how you learn, that's how you grow, that's how you develop your skill. And it is this that has led me to want to develop my skills further, give myself a challenge. And when the opportunity came up to actually showcase on a runway a collection of my refashioned garments, I thought, what better opportunity than this to give myself a challenge that is going to be a challenge to get it all done. The collection will be called The Art of Garment Renovation. Garment renovation I've mentioned in one of my previous videos, and I'll talk about why that is later on at the end and how you can also get involved in doing your own garment renovations and how this is now going to be our thing. But more on that at the end. Welcome back, my lovely ladies and gents. Thank you so much for joining me for another video. If we haven't actually met yet, my name is Evelyn Wood and I'm a dressmaker and sewing teacher, and what I really specialize in is refashioning, or what I have come to terms to call is garment renovating. Because my style is based on vintage style, and when I look to all of the dressmaking books of the past, they all reference this idea of altering and mending and what they call renovating, which is basically refreshing and remodeling pieces of clothing to fit the new taste, new style. Just an updated version of what it was. So first off, what is this whole thing? This is an event, it's called Worn Out, and it is run by an organization called Reverse Garbage. They are a store here in Brisbane, Queensland, Australia. And what they do is they specialize in taking all the weird random things that would usually end up in landfill and actually selling it in their store. So you go in there and it is just a plethora of odd things. There's bits of wood, there's little jars of corks, there's file things over here, there's carpet samples over there, there's all types of random buckets of all sorts of random things that would normally have just been thrown out. They resell. So it's a great place for crafters and just, you know, anyone who's crafty and makes things. It's a real great place because you just find so many weird things there. And so this is the third year, I believe, that they're running this event called Worn Out, and it's basically a showcase of recycled, upcycled clothing out of nothing. So they have a few categories. They have cosplay, which is, as you might imagine, using materials from their store and really sort of put together in that kind of a fashion. Then they have wearable art, which is kind of self-explanatory as well, is meant to be quite extravagant and very artistic in nature, creating, you know, trash from treasure using recycled, reclaimed materials. And the other category, which is the category that I'm entering, is the refashion. So this is obviously meant to be more wearable in nature, refashioned outfits from discarded, used, unloved clothing, refashioned into something new. So I saw this come up and I just thought, why not? This sounds really exciting. I've been looking for a challenge, for something exciting to do for a little while, and I thought that this would be a lot of fun. It would kind of give me a reason to put together something quite special in my refashions. And the fact that it was refashions is very unique. Most anything that you do is going to be for designing a collection, you know, from scratch, and that's quite standard. But having it specifically for refashioned items, I felt this was just meant to be. So my aim with this collection is to create a collection of garments that are from reclaimed, reused, you know, outcasted materials, and renovating and refashioning them into something new and wearable. My idea is to have something really wearable that doesn't appear, it doesn't, you know, scream, I chopped this up from a bunch of different things and put it together. I want to use references and look to the past for how they used to refashion and renovate their garments to be something new. I think that we can learn a lot by looking at what they used to do in the past, because it was common practice. Refashioning was common practice until only recent time that we've sort of lost this. So I want to use those references and bring that into the now. And of course they're going to be vintage inspired outfits with that as well. But my aim is to create a collection to really showcase and show people just what fabulous vintage inspired outfits that you can create from things that were just thrown away. Because I think that right now we're at a critical point where we need to really reconsider the amount of textile waste that we throw away. So what will the challenges be for me? Well, I have to create, I put myself into this box, I don't have to do it, but I do now because that's what I committed to, 3 outfits. And it is, the event is on the 23rd of November, 23rd I believe. So it's, you know, a bit over a month away, and I have to create 3 whole outfits. So I've had a lot of ideas of designs that I've wanted to do for some time. This is really forcing me to actually get them done for a reason, for a specific purpose. I thought it would be great to actually have some fantastic pictures and, you know, a fun event to do for my refashions, and also bring more awareness of just what you can do with refashioning garments through this. And I have some challenging ideas in mind, which I'll get to in a minute. So that's really the sort of the how, the what. Now let's talk about the actual collection. What am I planning? So I will be taking you through the whole process. My plan is to do 3 videos, very vlog style, just kind of like what I'm doing here, me talking to you, and really about the process of going through and working through this collection. So this first video, which is now of course, will be about the designing and planning of the collection, what I've got planned. And the next video I'll do as a sort of in progress, like a bit of, you know, going through the where I'm up to, progress report halfway through, so something like that. And then the final video, of course, will be the finale and the wonderful parade, the fashion parade, and all the frivolities that go on in getting ready for that. So I don't know how I'll actually film that yet, but that's later Evelyn's problem. And then of course each refashion, I'll plan to do a refashion video for those sort of separately as I go along. So they may be edited even after the event and all of that once it's done, but I'll do those as separate refashions. And then also I'll use this as a basis. As I said, there's a lot of refashions I've been wanting to do for a long time to figure out. This will kind of serve as my figuring out part of some of these specific refashions I have in mind to do as workshops for Vintage Sewing School. And that is another big project that I've been working on for months, but that is another video, another time. I'm almost ready to tell you about that one. Okay, so let's start with the collection. As I said, I have 3 outfits planned because I could do one. I thought, yeah, I could do just one, but this is the challenge, right? Why not just throw myself in the deep end and do 3? I may come to regret that yet. So my thought process was something along the lines of, you know, it's a collection. Do I do something like all out of menswear, or repurposed wedding gowns, or there was so many ideas that I had to begin with. Then I thought 3 different outfits. And then I thought, and I was just kind of going along vintage inspired. Do I make them certain decades or looks? There are so many things. As all these ideas started to just percolate around in my mind, I really come to the idea that, well, whilst it's a collection, it's a refashion collection. I'm not designing just from scratch and then creating all of that. It's refashioning, and in refashioning you're working with what you've got. So having 3 different outfits that all like look together and they're the same theme and everything like you normally would for a collection just really doesn't work for refashioning. I thought that's completely not the point. So they're going to be 3 different outfits, and then I sort of thought what better way to do it, as in I could do one day wear, one evening wear, and one resort wear. Kind of the aspects that you often have in a big collection of garments. You would have the resort collection and the day wear collection, the evening wear collection, but just one of each, and so each outfit is its individual thing. They have turned into having decade themes for each of them, which you'll see in a minute. That just was a happy accident, only from what I'm being inspired by. So that's what I have come to so far. There'll be a set of 3, and I've had one day wear, evening wear, and resort wear. Let me start with talking you through my ideas and inspirations for the day wear. This one's quite exciting. The sketches and illustrations here are completely empty because, well, I do most of this just in my mind these days. I don't really need to actually sketch them out, but I will get to it when I do the individual videos for each of them. But as it's refashioning, you can't really just sketch out the full thing ahead of time. I need to know exactly what materials I have to use to know what I've got that I have to actually work with. You get what I mean, right? So here's my idea. I've really for a long time wanted to do a lot with men's suits and refashioning men's suits in looking back to the past, particularly through the 1940s. There's a lot of, I don't know whether you call them instructions on how to remodel a man's suit into a woman's suit, 1941 style. And I've always wanted to kind of recreate that or do something with that. I thought it would be really fun to follow along on the instructions. So while I'm not going to follow along specifically and do it to the instructions, that is going to form the basis though of what I do for this particular refashion. So going to start with a men's suit and refashion it into a woman's suit. It'll probably be a 40s kind of style, early 40s style. So instead of a jacket, I will do a waistcoat, I believe. I think I'll get personally more wear out of the waistcoat if I actually do that. This is actually a workshop I've wanted to perfect and create for Vintage Sewing School. So this will be my sort of testing ground on how to perfect this refashion, and we'll come there later on down the track, but you know, we'll get to that, you know, further on. So, and then of course I'll use a men's shirt and refashion into something frilly and puffy sleeve, I think. I'm not quite sure yet. I will do the refashion of I'll make it a skirt, I think, and the waistcoat, and then I think pick what works from there, as in what design. So this rack behind me here is what I'm starting with. So I have already gone through all of my things that I have been collecting for a little while. As I said, this is one I've wanted to do for quite a while. So I have lots of different men's suits. You might remember from some of my thrift hauls that I mentioned I got a ton of men's suits. I've wanted to do this for a while, so I have some. So this is my rack for this collection. It will just, it's got all of the things there at the moment and will slowly turn into the outfits that I've refashioned for this. So my 1940s men's suit, a day wear, it will be my refashion number 1. Outfit number 2 is evening wear. And well, I can't help but go to the 1920s for evening wear. So this is also something I've had in my mind for a while, and I've wanted to do some 1920s refashions. This one I've really taken to looking at these beautiful beaded tabard style dresses that I think I can find something to refashion into quite easily. I want to do this as a refashion. I've already been asked questions by my friends of how do they find a dress for 2020, right? New Year's Eve celebrations. So I'm planning on doing some refashions based around that to kind of find some nice ways to not be a fake flapper and do some nice refashion 1920s dresses. So this one will be based around that. This one will really be dictated by what I find. So I'm thinking it'll be a sheer beaded, something lacy overdress with a simple little slip underneath. And there will definitely be a refashion video on this one. But this one I still need to find items for, so will be really dependent on what I find. I'm still hunting down the specifics on that one. My third outfit for the collection is resort wear. I have wanted to do a sailor style refashion for a really long time. The problem though for this one is what do I put with it? So I have a few ideas, and about what I've got already is to either do a top, and I could just do a plain, you know, navy skirt or something to go with it. I do also have some ideas of maybe turning it into a dress. I could do the sailor top as an over jacket, and like I'm really inspired by the 1930s look on these ones keep appearing for me. So this will be sort of a 1930s resort wear with some kind of sailor top shawl collar happening in it. I am really not sure on the actual design of this one yet. Again, I'm still piecing this one together, and this one will really be dependent on what I find to what I can refashion specifically. I mean, I've looked through, I've pulled out different things, and I'm looking at different suits, and there's a few things. Anyway, it needs more planning and everything, but that is the basis for my 1930s resort wear. So I feel like I still have a lot to do in planning all this, but it really is the fact that refashioning is using what you've got. So I can only really figure out those fine details almost as you go. So I won't know them until I actually start refashioning and working with what I've got. So I hope it's given you a good idea, at least what I have planned and what to look forward to. I hope you're as excited as I am to look forward to seeing the process of making all these outfits and seeing from design, idea, concept, me looking for each of the pieces and then putting it together, and then of course the fun fashion parade at the end of it all should be quite exciting. And I really want to most of all show what is possible in refashioning items, garment renovations. That leads me to my next point that I almost forgot. This entire collection is going to be called The Art of Garment Renovation, because that is what I feel is the most appropriate for what it is that we all do here. It is an art form. It is quite unique and different to actually refashion something. It's really using what you've got, and it actually requires a different set of thinking skills to be able to put it together. You know, that's where it is all referenced in the vintage sewing text that I really love to look at and gain and will be looking at for use in all of these designs. And I think it encompasses the idea of being sustainable and using what we've got and actually mending and repairing and making do, and being creative, using what we've got well. I think it encompasses all of this, and this is what we do when we are refashioning, I think, these days. And that's why I like to call it garment renovation. And that's the hashtag that I'm going to use for this from now on. Instead of refashion, it's going to be garment renovation. I'll still use refashion to be found in keyword searches and things like that, of course. So if you still see that is why there. I would like people to be find it. No one's going to be searching garment renovation yet, except you, my fellow garment renovators, because I know you all have the same ethos and the same sentiments that I do. And that's why it is not just my hashtag, it is our hashtag. So any refashions, even mending, really, like mending, refashions, upcycling, you know, all the different labels that you can use for the terms. Use the hashtag garment renovation on anything that you do to kind of put a stamp to say, like, yes, this is what I'm doing. Using, you know, the references and the love of the past to be more sustainable in our fashion and what we're doing forward for the future. So use the hashtag garment renovation on all of your mending and refashioning and upcycles and fixings, big or small. I think it encompasses all of these things and this idea of making do better with what we've got. So please use those. Go back to your old posts and use it all. I would love to see it. I'm going to go back and hashtag all of mine, I think. Garment renovation is now our hashtag that we'll use to describe what we're doing here in our little community. And thus my collection is called The Art of Garment Renovations. Give this video a like if you like it. Leave me comments below what you think of my collection, if you're excited about it, if you have any ideas for me, and what you think about garment renovation too, if you're going to use the hashtag. I always love reading your comments below. It just makes my day. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, bye. And if you're one of the lucky ones who are actually in Brisbane, Queensland, even better, you can come to this event for for free. It's a free event. So I'm going to link down below where you can get your tickets. If enough of you are coming, if anyone's coming, then maybe we could do a meetup or something like that beforehand. I don't know, that would be really fun. But let me know if you're coming so I can actually plan something like that if anyone is coming. I can't wait to show you the rest of this collection. It's going to be so much fun to make.